Hey, what's up everybody? It's Patrick 1969 in the sunshine, and I've gotten so many requests for this figure that I just couldn't ignore it anymore. I'm talking about the figure before you, which is the Robot Spirits OO Qan figure, or Quanton, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I've gotten lots of requests in the past since I started doing reviews, but none of them so highly, none of them as much as this figure right here. I mean, it's incredible. As soon as I showed that I got one, just non-stop have been asked to review it. So here it is, the review. Now I will tell you right now, this will be in two parts. There's a lot of little stuff I got to show you with this figure. It's very, very cool. And so that's it. Okay, so so I'll be giving you guys the details on what he does, his articulation, and how much you guys can get this guy for, or this figure for. And let me just say, it is very, very, very reasonable, and in my mind, very cheap. So let's start this off with, of course, his accessories, and we'll begin with his sword. Now, as you can see, it's a sword, just like the Exias and the OOs, except a little different. This is the GN Sword version 3. Let me back up the camera a little bit. GN Sword version 3. Let's see, a little bit of backstory for this sword. Or not version 3, I'm sorry, version 5. Okay, so version 1 belonged to the Exia Gundam. Version 2 belonged to the Exia, of course, and that was when the blade was completely made out of E-carbon, the special E-carbon that Celestial Being used. I think their E-carbon was special because they mixed it with GN particles. I'm not sure. That's just what I remember hearing. Anyways, version 3 was, of course, the GN sword that the OO had towards the end of the series. I think we only saw it with maybe 3-4 episodes. Now, as you saw the GN swords go from Gundam to Gundam, you could see the progression that what it would eventually come to, which is this, where the Exia and the Exia Gundam's blade was completely made out of E-carbon. The version 3 sword was E-carbon pretty much for most of it, but around the tip or at the edge it had this green, I think they call it GN condenser material. I'm not sure if that's what they're called, but that's what I can remember. Later on in the same series, the Exia Repair 2 had the same kind of design, but it was, of course, a shorter blade, and it had more of the green condenser material around the blade and less of the actual metal itself. There was a GN Sword 4, but I think they only released that as a model kit. I'm not sure. And so this is the GN Sword 5. Okay, so just a little backstory for that. Sorry about that being so long, but just thought you guys would want to know. You get an extra sword piece right here. You get these two little blast beams. I'll show you what they do in a moment. Actually, probably later. And of course you get his many different hands that the Robot Spirit figures and the MSA figures are known for. You get the popular jazz hands. You get, whoops, almost flew out. You get these trigger finger hands, as you can see, trigger fingers. And then you get closed fists, which he has the left one on him now, and this is the right one. Now, he does come with a fifth hand, and that's this one that he has on right now, on his right. It's to hold the GN sword at a curved angle, kind of like that. So, just thought that was neat. Oops, there we go. He does also come with a attachment for Robot Spirit's figure stand, and that's there. Goes up his butt. He also comes with another stand part. Now this cannot stand up on its own. You need an actual stand This is just a little attachment piece that you get extra. It's supposed to be used to hold the GN sword bits, and I'll show you those in a little while. But anyways, hold the GN sword bits in a circle around the Gundam to activate the shield that it generates. And then when it's down on the floor and the Gundam is in the middle, that's the Quanton system when it activates. Okay, so now it's articulation, and if you have the Exia Gundam and the OO Gundam, then this is kind of pretty much the same deal. It's same falls into the same line of figure style. Articulation is same as the OO from previous, and the shoulders, arms, knees. This one bends like that, as you can see. I like the little condenser material all over the Gundam as well. Something really interesting is that it has this elbow guard, I guess you can call it. It does come off and you can switch it from arm to arm, but I just think that's a little weird. A neat feature is where before the OO Gundam had this wrist that was bent permanently, you couldn't bend it down. This one you can bend it up and down, so that's neat also. The feet, legs, and arms are pretty much the same as the OO Gundams, but I want to say the articulation in the waist is pretty much just like the Exia. It has a lot of movability and bends really nice and fluidly, so there's that. Oops, hit the camera. Now last but not least, you also get, of course, the GN shield bits, and it's right here. This covers up the second GN drive that this Gundam has, and I'll show you that in a moment. Let me try and pose him so I can take these bits off. Okay, so they come off like this. There's one, there's two, there's three, there's 4, 5, 6, and it looks a lot like the one of the wings off the OO riser, and I thought that was neat to have. These bend right here, the little folds. If you want to know where the GN drive is, I'll show you. Not hard to miss, although hard to bend. This is still like a few days out of the package. I haven't had time to really, loosen up the joints properly. But let me get the camera. If you see right there, see that green material? That's the second GN drive, and that's the GN drive in the back. So, neat feature. Wish they did a little bit more. I know the model kit has a little light that turns on in the middle of the chest. I wish that, something like that could happen. Okay. Oops. Looks like he's giving an attitude. Okay, so that's enough for part 1 of this review. Keep watching for part 2, and I'll have the rest to show you in that. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.